All right, well, hello and good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Terra's Third Thursday webinar. Um, Again, like last month, we're going to try to be very topical, very quick, and brief and to the point. So I just want to thank you all for being on the call, on the webinar today. We're going to wait just a couple of minutes just to make sure that all of those that did register have a moment to attend, because sometimes you can have some, people have issues with the technology and they may be getting late on finishing the call prior to this event. So we're going to start no later than 2:03. So please just kind of hold patiently while we get prepared to get started. So this event is going to be again presented by Call to Recycle. Eric Frederickson is going to be the host again, as he was last month. But I just want to make sure that everybody knows they're going to be on mute throughout this. And for anybody that has kind of like Q&A questions that they'd like to ask Eric, I'll be moderating that. So you can put questions in either the questions or the chat function, which is on the side of your screen, part of your kind of control panel. You can send questions through the either of those two functionalities, questions or chat, and the time remaining, I'll ask those of Eric when he concludes his remarks. But again, we're going to be just holding here for a couple of more minutes, allowing those that are having any kind of difficulty to get on to make sure that they don't miss the beginning of the presentation. Also of note, to those that are on currently, at the end of the webinar, within an hour or two of the conclusion of the event, we will be mailing out a link that's a link to the video of this webinar. You can also see at the same place through our GoToMeeting channel last month's presentation as well, if you registered to it. So all the content will be online on our channel at GoToWebinar. But we're going to go ahead and get started. It is now 2:03, so we appreciate those that have been able to navigate the technology and get here on time, but we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, this is Terra's Third Thursday webinar. This is part of a series that we're doing every third Thursday for the remainder of the year and hopefully into 2022. We've already got this whole year already booked. It's going to be short and topical, talking about knowledge you can use for your operations. And it's here as a benefit to our Terra members. We're going to be 45 minutes long today in total, so we've already gotten into that a little bit, so I'm going to be quick. If you have any questions, again, use the chat feature or use the questions feature, and I'll be moderating those at the end if time allows it. But I want to thank and welcome Call to Recycle for being our presenting host this month, and welcome Eric Frederickson to be our presenter. So just a little bit about Call to Recycle. It was founded in 1994. It's a nonprofit organization committed to protecting and preserving the environment through responsible end-of-life management of consumer batteries, cell phones, and related products. You can find them at calltorecycle.org. And our presenter, Eric Frederickson, he is their managing director of operations. His experience includes more than 18 years in engineering and operations. He has management roles in transportation solutions like UPS and XPO Logistics. He's got a background in logistics, safety, corporate compliance, and he helps businesses, municipalities, and individuals safely and compliantly manage their end-of-life batteries. So without further ado, here's Eric.
Thanks, Steve. First off, I want to thank everybody for attending today and for having the opportunity to go through what is clearly one of the most pressing issues in end-of-life management across all sectors and industries, and that's the issues that we're seeing in relating to lithium-ion batteries and some of the fires that we've seen in a variety of different locations and the impact on them. So specifically today, I want to go through. I want to start with a question about battery safety. I'd like to give a brief background about the history of Call to Recycle. I want to talk some about Call to Recycle's safety journey, and then I want to get into the meat of the webinar. Last month's webinar focused on lithium-ion battery safety tips, specifically for recyclers and waste handlers. A little bit of a different approach to it this month. We're going to give some feedback on how consumers who are typically less equipped and less knowledgeable about lithium-ion batteries, things that they can do to help encourage responsible battery usage. So this is something that we've found is useful, not just for industry, but for industry to be able to engage with their waste collectors and with the broader communities to help address some of the battery safety issues that we're seeing right now. So the question I want to ask, and it's the same question I posed last month, is when did your views on lithium-ion battery safety change? Calder Cycle's views on lithium-ion battery safety changed on June 5th of 2017, and I'll go into a little detail in a few slides on why it was that the timing associated with it, but the specific occurrence.
Again on part of the Ohio Turnpike eastbound, where Interstate 76 and 80 split just before the Youngstown exit. A FedEx truck there caught fire. This is video a witness sent into 27 First News. You can see it across the highway there. Hazmat crews tell First News that truck was carrying lithium batteries. The fire is now out, but crews say it could still be a little while before the road is cleaned up and the mess cleared away. Stay with First News. Also new at new.
So not only was that FedEx truck carrying lithium-ion batteries, but among the lithium-ion batteries that it contained were Calder Cycle collection boxes. That occurrence was very significant for the organization and really caused us to address how we approach safety and how we approach safety of lithium-ion batteries in their collection and safe transportation. So before I go into more detail about that, just for those of you who are not familiar with the Calder Cycle program, Calder Cycle was founded, as Steve said, in 1994, 26 years ago, specifically to address responsible end-of-life management for nickel-cadmium batteries that were being put into the market. As the chemistry makeup of batteries has changed, so has the focus of the program. Calder Cycle works on behalf, we're a nonprofit working on behalf of our stewards, and we administer our collection program across the United States. We work in partnership with a number of household name big box retailers where consumers can drop their batteries off for free of charge. Additionally, we work with OEMs, municipalities, and private enterprise in order to help responsibly recycle and manage batteries at end of life. Calder Cycle is funded in the United States by fees that battery stewards voluntarily participate in and submit for the products and batteries that they sell into the market. As I said, in the United States, we're primarily a voluntary program, except in certain jurisdictions. So Vermont for primary batteries, Minnesota, New York, and now Washington, D.C. with their new legislation, where there are extended producer responsibility laws in place regarding the responsible management of batteries. So a little more detail about the program. In addition to our consumer box program, Calder Cycle works with our industry partners to provide a number of recycling services for all type of battery chemistries. So this includes primary batteries like alkaline and lithium metal. We also offer a number of services to responsibly manage damaged, defective, and recalled batteries. So if you think about the Galaxy Note, we didn't handle that recall specifically, but that's a great example of the type of scenarios that Calder Cycle helps consumers with. And we also have moved into the broader world of battery fire safety because we've recognized the demand in the market and a need for these types of products for consumers, for waste handlers, and for industry. So one of the things that's really significant about lithium-ion batteries in the waste world is the growth that we are anticipating right now. One of the good things about the waste world, the end-of-life management world, is that we know what's being sold into the market in current years, so we can anticipate what the demand for our recycling services is going to be in years to come. The term that we're using right now for the increase in lithium-ion battery recycling needs is hockey stick-shaped growth. So it's going along and it's increasing, but at a certain point, it's going to turn the curve and it's going to start to increase at a very, very fast rate. This is caused by a couple of things. The first is batteries are now being used in a variety of applications where they were never used previously. So if you think outdoor power tools and equipment, e-mobility like scooters and e-bikes, and on top of that, there's an increasing demand for the batteries for the devices that already have batteries in them. So the increasing demand, coupled with the new use cases, is really adding up to just incredible growth in the lithium-ion battery market. In 2021, Call to Recycle has three primary focuses. As always, we have a major focus on collection. We're here to serve the market, industry, and consumers by collecting and managing batteries. So that's one of our primary focuses. We also have a large focus this year on safety. So that comes both with administrative controls, as I would call them, so helping work with industry partners and the broader community to educate people on lithium-ion battery safety, but also what we would call engineered controls, so products and devices that help prevent and mitigate the risks associated with handling end-of-life batteries. The third primary focus this year is on building capacity to increase the market demand that I spoke about on the last slide. So getting back to the question that I asked initially, when your views on lithium-ion battery safety changed. So that fire occurred on the Ohio Turnpike in June of 2017. It really caused us to look inward and reassess how we view safety, but also how we view customer engagement, because the batteries that come into the Call to Recycle program originate with consumers and industry partners. And so we have a large opportunity to engage with those parties before the batteries even enter our program to ensure that we can have safe and compliant shipment once the batteries are in our program. As a response to this, this reflection on what we needed to do, we started what we call the Charge Up Safety campaign. Now, as I said before, things had changed that led up to the final event, the fire in the FedEx vehicle, that caused Call to Recycle to need to change our approach to safety. And what I've got on the slide here is a graph of the makeup of all of the batteries in the Call to Recycle program by chemistry. And as you can see, at the very early days of the Call to Recycle program, that green bar represents nickel cadmium batteries. And while nickel cadmium batteries do represent dangers and concerns from an environmental standpoint at end of life, they pose very little danger in transit, unlike a lithium-ion battery. So nickel cadmium batteries, for example, they don't have a UN number. They're not managed by the Department of Transportation and other regulatory authorities as a dangerous good while in transit. So there's very little risk profile associated with them. If you look at the red bar on that line, that's lithium-ion batteries. So really what changed in the program that culminated in the fire, that's caused us to look inward, and this is really where the broader recycling community is that the percentage of end-of-life batteries that are coming out of the market that are lithium-ion is really starting to increase. Now, the blue line represents primary batteries, so generally alkaline batteries, and we've really increased our focus and capabilities on primary batteries. But if you take the primary batteries out of the equation, lithium-ion batteries in the last few years have surpassed nickel cadmium and all other chemistries as the most collected item in the Call to Recycle program. So this is what's changing for all of industry, and we're also seeing that with partners of ours in Europe and Canada that have been collecting all battery programs for a number of decades. Our program focused on primarily nickel cadmium batteries, whereas the European programs focused on alkaline batteries. But it's a similar scenario where they were previously collecting a battery chemistry that posed very little danger in transit, and now they're seeing an increasing portion of the batteries in their programs as lithium ion. So there's a need, not just in the Call to Recycle program, and not just in the battery recycling world, but in the broader waste world, to address the unique concerns that come with handling lithium-ion batteries. So when Call to Recycle started our Charge Up Safety campaign in 2017, we really wanted to promote safety in the battery recycling landscape. So we created our, and you know what? I have not been moving my slides forward here. So my apologies. So this is the slide where I was talking about that hockey-shaped growth. I'm a couple slides behind. And this is the slide where I was talking about the percentages of batteries by chemistry. So we have the green there, 97% in 1999. And now we have a full third of the batteries in our program are lithium-ion batteries. So now I've got my slides caught back up to where I am here. So when we launched our Charge Up Safety campaign, we really had four primary objectives. First off, we knew that we had an opportunity to develop our own internal knowledge in order to be able to serve as educators and influencers. Two, we knew that we had an opportunity to increase performance and accountability of our collection sites, or those that introduce the batteries into the Call to Recycle program. Three, we made the determination that it was absolutely critical to drive consumer awareness. So that's where some of the discussions points for later in the presentation orient. And four, we knew that we needed to engage other stakeholders, like other Terra members, in things like we're doing today. So in addition to consumer engagement and consumer education, I did want to talk about a couple of innovations in the Call to Recycle program that we've seen great successes with. So specifically, three items. One is the introduction of our flame retardant liner in our collection box. Previously, our collection boxes were a fiberboard box, packing group 2, like many batteries and end-of-life batteries are shipped in. We've introduced a patented polyester flame retardant liner. The second thing that we've done is we started to introduce and make available a variety of damaged battery recycling solutions, like you see on the right side of the screen. And the third thing that we've done is we've worked in conjunction with our partners at Cellblock to make battery safety products available across the broader industry. So touching base on that liner, a couple of things to share about our liner. As I said, it's patented. We have extensive third-party testing where we've demonstrated that the box can withstand battery fires up to 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. We've demonstrated that the box can contain flames and heat from spreading outside of the shipping container. And in addition to that, the fibers themselves are made from post-consumer recycled material, and the liners are not only recyclable, but they're reusable, so we can keep them in the Call to Recycle program for a number of uses and years. If you look at the pictures on the right, these are pictures of actual battery fires that occurred inside our boxes that were contained within the boxes. So one of the things that we know about it is that it works. I'd like to speak now on the topic of consumer lithium-ion battery safety. We break it down into a couple of different segments, and they really kind of follow the life of a lithium-ion battery. So the first slide I'm going to go through is some tips for consumers on battery safety before they buy. I'm then going to talk some about battery safety in the home, battery safety while traveling, and then battery safety at end of life. The first thing that I want to touch on for consumer lithium-ion battery safety before you buy is the fact that not all lithium batteries are the same. So we've got a picture from Alibaba just looking for 18650 cells. So original equipment manufacturers, or OEMs, these batteries were required to meet some very rigorous safety standards set by the United Nations Subcommittee on the experts on the transportation of dangerous goods. Within the battery world, these are called the UN 38.3 tests. They require tests for things like vibration, pressure change, heat resistance. And so all batteries that are made by reputable OEMs go through all of these tests. One concern that we like for consumers to be aware of is that there are a lot of counterfeit batteries and reconditioned batteries on the marketplace. And we generally recommend against purchasing batteries from unknown sources like online auction sites. The second consumer battery safety before you buy topic is that lithium batteries may not be interchangeable. So lithium batteries are designed to be used in a specific application and a specific device. Using a battery in a device that it was not designed for could result in battery failure, including fire or explosion. So for example, there are no commercially available cylindrical cell 18650s, lithium-ion batteries, that have been designed or tested for use in vaping devices. So this is one of the reasons that you see as many of the fires in vaping devices as we do, is a battery is a part of a broader system with the device and the charger. Individual battery cells are not required to have overvoltage protection. That's built into the charger or the device or the battery management system in the case of a laptop or cell phone. So when you take an individual cell, charging it on an unknown charger, using it in an unknown device, you're breaking down the integrity of that integrated system. and increasing the likelihood that you're going to have a battery fire event. The third before you buy tip that we like to share with consumers is that chargers may not be interchangeable. Aftermarket or third-party chargers may not be suitable for use with your lithium-ion batteries. Even if they charge the battery, they may not be equipped with the right overcharge protection that I just spoke of. Aftermarket, we advise consumers to avoid aftermarket chargers, and if they have one in use, certainly never leave it unattended. The next kind of classification of consumer lithium-ion battery safety tips that we like to go through is lithium-ion battery safety in the home. So the first thing that we would recommend is that consumers never use damaged or abused batteries. So some of the safety features that are built into lithium-ion batteries can fail if they're subject to abuse. Consumers should stop using batteries from devices like drones or hoverboards if they've been subject to severe abuse. And a consumer is advised to never charge a damaged battery. The next safety tip that we like to give for battery use in the home is to store batteries safely. So specifically, don't store or leave batteries in areas that may get very hot, like attics, sheds, or personal vehicles. Consumers should avoid placing batteries in devices or devices containing batteries near hot items like cooking surfaces or radiators. Additionally, you shouldn't ever crush or puncture a battery. Batteries also shouldn't be stored in junk drawers or anywhere they can come into contact with metal objects like keys or coins that can cause a short circuit and overheating. The third tip is what to do when batteries go bad. If lithium-ion batteries start to swell, overheat, or smoke, special precautions should be taken. Bad lithium-ion batteries should be placed into a bucket or pail of sand or kitty litter or water and taken outside away from combustible materials. And consumers should contact their local municipal recycling center about dropping off a damaged battery. The third group of information about using lithium-ion batteries safely has to do with traveling with batteries. The first thing that's important, and this is a real blind spot for a lot of consumers, is that consumers need to understand what is and isn't allowed in a plane. Spare lithium-ion batteries are generally not allowed in checked bags on passenger aircraft. There are restrictions on devices containing bigger lithium-ion batteries over 100 watt-hours. Vaping devices are not allowed in checked bags, and batteries looser in devices that are over 160 watt-hours are not allowed in carry-on or checked baggage. So I've got a portable rechargeable power pack. It's relatively large, and it is in excess of 160 watt-hours. So while it's a good device, and I love it, and I can charge my iPhone about 10 times off of it, that battery is larger than is allowed on a commercial aircraft. Typically, the TSA is not going to be checking or looking for these types of devices, looking on the side. So consumers should really be aware of what is and isn't allowed on a plane. The next safety tip for traveling is to get help if you lose your phone on a plane. If you lose your phone or device while you're on a plane, call a flight attendant for help and avoid moving the seat. This can crush your phone and damage the battery. So you actually hear these days flight attendants say, or during the safety message, airline crew say, if you lose your phone, let us know. So this is specifically because of the incidence of phone battery fires or personal electronic device fires that the airlines have been seeing with customers crushing their phones in the seats. The next topic that I would like to go through is, and our last one for consumer safety, is what should consumers do with batteries when they're done? The first tip is to avoid curbside. And this is a tough one, and it's confusing for most consumers, and there's a lot of opportunity for the broader industry and broader waste community to address this. But batteries generally have the European wheelie bin with the X through it icon on them. When most people see this, they think I shouldn't throw it away, but I should recycle it, which is true. But they shouldn't be recycled in curbside. Recycling batteries is the right thing to do, but consumers should avoid putting them in their curbside bins. Batteries delivered to local material recovery facilities, MRFs, via your blue bin, they end up contaminating other recyclables. So we've seen a pretty substantial uptick in battery fires at MRFs because of well-intended but misinformed consumers who put lithium-ion batteries in their recycling bin. At facilities like this, there are typically materials handling equipment like forklifts, front loaders, conveyor belts, and when these batteries get crushed or punctured in these types of sorting and moving equipment, that's when they start to get punctured, cracked, broken, and catch on fire. The second tip for consumers is that, well, if I can't put it in my recycling bin on the curb, what should I do with it? So consumers are encouraged to know where they can recycle. About 90% of US consumers live within 10 miles of a free call to recycle drop-off location for rechargeable batteries, including lithium ion. So even if you can't put your batteries in the bin, you're probably not far from one of the over 30,000 public collection sites where lithium ion batteries can be recycled for free. I would encourage consumers to go to calltorecycle.org/locator to find a site near you, or you can just Google call to recycle drop-off location. The third tip for consumers is don't hoard your used batteries. And this is a big area for opportunity because, again, consumers know that they should recycle their batteries, but they don't really know what to do with them. So we encourage consumers to take their batteries in for recycling with them as soon as they're done. Most consumers probably pass by a location where they can recycle batteries as they're out and about on running their weekend errands or buying groceries. So concluding with a couple of topics, with increasing mobility comes not only risks, but responsibilities. Safety needs to remain a top priority. Safety needs to remain a top priority of both the recycling community and the broader waste community. If not, then we're not going to reach the consumers, and we're only going to see incidents like this increase. And finally, education, both internally within your own organizations, but also externally with consumers, is the most effective way to reduce the safety risks and optimize recycling. So, Steve, I really I appreciate your giving me the opportunity to speak with our Terra members today, and I'm happy to answer any questions that have come up through the chat.
Yeah, I did get one question here offline actually, and one was, for Terra members and other recyclers that are attending today, one of the things I know that they try to do is provide some added value to their customers, and that can be in the form of providing some best practices and ideas not only for themselves to handle internally, but information that they can provide to their employees that they can take home with them. So, are there any is there any links to information, best practices that you've shared here today that might be, in a format where they could provide it to their customers as well?
Sure. We would encourage folks to visit us at calltorecycle.org/safety, or again, just Google call to recycle safety, and that'll take you directly to our safety portal where we've got a number of different resources available. We have information. So the fact sheet that I just shared a lot of the topics off of is available. We have information about collecting and shipping batteries. We have some general battery safety training. We have information on handling damaged, defective, and recalled batteries. And then we've got an FAQ and resources section as well.
Excellent. And I'll also provide, again, at the end of this presentation, this is being recorded, so we will be posting it, and with that post, I'll provide some links to the Call to Recycle site for everybody to take a look at some of those resources. Let's see, it looks like another question has come in. I have a large hotel chain that wants me to collect the remote batteries from over 1,000 locations. Is there something to avoid? Is there anything to avoid with shipping these?
Well, like most questions involving regulations, the answer is it depends. But I'll be happy to go through a couple of the different types of scenarios. So typically, remote control batteries are going to be single-use batteries, although there are, particularly in industrial type applications like you may have in place at the hotel chain, there are rechargeable batteries. So the first thing that's important is to know what it is specifically that you're shipping. So if it's rechargeable, it may be a lithium-ion battery, or it could be a nickel metal hydride battery. It's less likely that it's a cylindrical nickel cadmium battery, but it certainly could be an embedded nickel cadmium battery, embedded but removable. It's more likely that that's a single-use battery. The first thing that I would throw out there as a concern for recyclers and general handlers is a cylindrical cell alkaline battery has completely different regulations from a cylindrical cell lithium metal battery. So if you get your kind of standard ubiquitous alkaline copper top, and then you've got a battery that is typically going to say lithium, either lithium metal or just lithium on the side of it. Those lithium metal batteries, those batteries have relatively specific shipping guidelines. So if you don't know, I would always encourage you to, one, either educate yourself what you have, or two, follow the more stringent guidelines for the lithium primary batteries. So for alkaline batteries up to 9 volt, a marked 9 volts, those batteries are not managed with too specific or stringent regulations. No terminal protection or taping is needed. They could be shipped in any type of sturdy or rigid packaging. Again, though, they're easily confused with lithium metal batteries. So with the lithium metal batteries, it's important to always individually bag those batteries, or to put a non-conductive, robust tape, like electrical tape or duct tape, on the positive and negative terminals of those batteries before shipping.
Yeah, I would say at least for I know those 9-volt batteries, just personal experience, that can be problematic when they start touching one another.
Well, one of the problems with the 9-volt battery, and one of the things that people don't really think of, is when you have a short circuit on a battery, the positive and negative terminals of that one battery have to be connected. So on a cylindrical cell, it's a pretty good distance, over an inch, between the two terminals of the battery. On a 9-volt battery, though, the two terminals are right next to each other. So if you have a 9-volt style battery in a lithium primary, which generally have recessed terminals, but they do have the positive and negative right next to each other. And if those were to come in contact with another piece of metal, that would cause that battery to short circuit and overheat. Similarly, coin cell and button cell batteries should be individually taped or bagged. A lot of people in the industry use a term called making ravioli. So you lay out one strip of tape and then put your coin or button cell batteries along there, and then put another strip of tape on top of it. Because in a coin cell battery, the positive and negative terminals are about 1 millimeter apart. It's the flat surface on the bottom and then the outer edge. Those are the two terminals. So something with very small metal contact could create a short circuit and cause that lithium metal coin cell battery to overheat and ignite.
Good. It looks like we got a couple other questions here. Does Color Recycle offer a bucket or a bin, or anything to be able to send broken equipment, tablets, or lithium batteries in?
Calder Recycle does not run. So Terra, of course, runs an e-waste collection program. We do have some device and customer specific programs that we offer. So I'd encourage anyone who's interested in putting together a program specific for their company or their institution, certainly reach out for me at the contact information on the slide, or via calderrecycle.org, and we can put you in correct with the right customer service people to set up a program specific for your needs. Calder Recycle has got a variety of different shipping media that are used specifically for batteries and cell phones. But again, we can work with specific waste generators to put together a program catered to your needs.
Okay, so that kind of follows in this last question I see here. If it's possible to purchase collection bins or buckets from you guys,
it is. Yep.
They could have on location at like those hotels to be able to just safely be able to put those in. So you do have those products. Okay,
yeah,
great.
100%. If you go to calderrecycle.com/store, again, or just Google Calder Recycle store, it'll take you right to it. Our store contains kind of our bread and butter collection box in a couple of different sizes. So we have a smaller box that we've made available to help control the cost on it. That will hold about 15 pounds worth of batteries. So in a collection site like that, I think that's probably the appropriate size. all the way up through, we have commercial generators that we work with, that we supply with pallets of our boxes, flat, with 50 boxes on a pallet that we then ship to a customer that they build on site, put the liner in, put their batteries in, and then palletize and ship back to us. And then a variety of solutions offerings for damaged batteries, as well as just for battery safety. So everything from fire gloves, fire blankets. We make available a number of products using Cell Block X, which is the granular loose fill fire suppressant material manufactured by Cell Block Fire Containment Systems. And I would encourage anybody who's interested in upgrading at their facility from sand or vermiculite to something that will extinguish a battery fire and keep it from propagating cell to cell. If you just go to YouTube and search Cell Block EX, so Cell Block, then the letters EX, there's a couple of really great demonstration videos, one of which I showed last month, of just how quickly that Cell Block product will snuff out a lithium-ion battery fire.
And one of the questions that I have kind of harkens back to one of the first reasons that I personally reached out to Call to Recycle was one of our Terra members did have a client that had out in the field remotely, thousands of batteries that were just kind of all over the country, and they were high amperage batteries. So the difficulty was, as we start seeing more, kind of bigger devices out there, you start seeing more high-powered batteries, and then the danger level goes up. And they were just curious, what kind of products you might have available to handle those, kind of higher amp hours, 800 amp hour kind of type batteries safely and efficiently.
So, and this is a great question, Steve. It's something that we've really seen starting to go across the industry. It goes back to that slide that I had where I talked about lithium-ion batteries going into new applications. So you've got everything from outdoor power equipment all the way up to things like commercial grade mowers, backpack weed eaters. So what you start to get there is lithium-ion batteries that exceed the watt-hour limitations that the DOT sets for shipping in lesser regulated type of shipping scenarios. So Call to Recycle has a variety of solutions available for these larger batteries. On an enterprise level, we've got a number of organizations that we've partnered with to put together customized end-of-life management solutions. Everything from custom training portals in scenarios where store associates are going to need to have DOT training, that ties directly into unique service offerings specifically designed for individual SKUs, purpose-built large format damaged battery kits for things like power walls and stationary storage. So again, that's the kind of thing that we love partnering with industry on. And so if any Terra members have a specific battery recycling need or bringing a product to market that they need to partner with, we love partnering with industry on developing custom solutions like that.
And just always one more thing about, for our folks or for our, facility operators, it would be, they've got staff, they got new people with training coming all the time. Are there just like some simple best practices or some simple equipment that they should always make sure that they have on hand in case, as they're, demanufacturing some of this equipment that's got batteries in it?
Yeah, I think that there's two key points for demanufacturers of equipment. So, one of the things that we generally say to consumers is don't ever remove a battery from a device that's not intended to be removed. That advice doesn't work for recyclers, because by the very nature of what you're doing, you're removing the batteries from the devices. So the first is about training. Your employees should know what they're doing, what the risk factors are, and how to handle them. Second, though, is about setting up every workstation so that every employee is equipped to handle a battery fire situation. I would really encourage all of your Terra members to take that battery fire event as a likelihood or eventuality or something that's going to happen, and not treat it as an afterthought or something that may happen. I've been to a number of recyclers where the closest response kit or device that a frontline associate could use was 50 feet or 100 feet away was a bucket of sand. So I'd really encourage every workstation at a minimum to have a fire retardant bucket with sand, kitty litter, more preferably a fire suppressant product like Cell Block, a fire suppression blanket, and even we work to provide a product called a PED, personal electronic device, a PED pad, and so it's a pillow with Cell Block loose fill built into it. So if an employee has a battery fire situation, they can grab that pillow and put it directly on top of the device to immediately snuff out that battery fire. But really the biggest thing that I would encourage, Steve, is treat it like it's going to happen and equip every single employee workstation with the tools that they need in order to address a fire scenario.
Excellent. Well, Frederick, thank you. Great advice. 2 seminars in a row of excellent advice for our industry and our members. We really do appreciate it. Again, for everybody that's listening, this has been recorded. It will be posted on our GoToWebinar channel, and you'll be receiving an email about that with a link. Be sure to mark your calendars for next month, the next third Thursday, which I should know off the top of my head, but I'm going to have to look at my calendar. Just because it's been that kind of a week, is going to be the 17th. So June 17th, mark your calendars. We're going to be, the presentation is going to be hosted by Blanco, and they're going to be talking about, software and data sanitization and those kind of best practices. So we're looking forward to that. But again, Eric, thank you so much. 2 months in a row, you've been a trooper. We really appreciate your help, and look forward to talking to you again in the future.
We really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you, Steve.
All right. Well, everybody, have a great rest of your day. We will be talking with you soon. Take care.
Thanks a lot, everybody.